I believe.
Hey everyone! Welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, the Nintendo 64 version, because it is episode 64 of the new podcast anyways. How you guys doing? We are here to have a wonderful time tonight because we have a special guest. Eric Moore, how you doing?
Hey! No.
Co-host over there across the table. We also seemingly have this guy that came from the Odyssey. Working
He's
thing
showing up. We don't know.
I don't know why. I didn't even invite him. He's just here. Apparently, you know what he said before the show started, folks? We can't do it without him anymore. It's impossible.
I mean, so ask the chat. Ask the chat. They'll tell you. They'll tell you.
No, don't get the justice for Mike going. That was a Prime Gaming Fest thing. Come on now. All right, but no, we really do have a new guest on the show, Lindz, for those who aren't aware of who she is, because I don't know if everybody knows everybody. That's just kind of the way it goes. New crowds, new audience. She is a Pokemon YouTuber. Do you want to tell them a little bit what you do at your channel?
Yeah, so we do a lot of Pokemon content, but my big focus is actually mental health advocacy and education through gaming as well. I have a psychology background, and that's kind of what I've really tried to carry through my channel, as well as create something that's more than just your standard community, I guess. So safe space for everyone, a lot of advocacy going on behind the scenes as well towards a lot of different nonprofits. But we really focus on the competitive scene of Pokemon, so a lot of Nuzlocks, like I said, just competitive battling, challenge runs, etc. So it's really fun.
There you go.
Hell yeah. I like it.
Seriously, it's like my fiance is also in college right now for mental health stuff to help people out. And
let's
go. I have a bachelor's in psych.
He's bachelor's in psych over there. We talk mental health a lot over here. Mike over there, you know, he's all about the mental health and getting people right. So that's awesome. Awesome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming on. I literally did not expect a response, let me tell you. All right, so we have a number of topics to get to today, but we're going to start our podcast off the same way we start every podcast, and that is, what the heck have we been playing lately? And you know what? Let's let Lindz go first. What have you been playing lately?
A lot of Pokemon Unite, actually. Worlds just happened this last weekend, so it was really great to see literally the best of the best, and people we'd actually played against several times going through ranked that we were just considering friends at the time. Had no idea they were going to Worlds, and to see them on the big screen and learn a lot from like the best of the best across the entire world was really, really cool. And cheering on friends we didn't even know were going to be there was a really unique experience. So a lot of Pokemon Unite, but I just downloaded Cult of the Lambs today. So that is
Then they just do like another DLC update for that too? Like just announced?
Oh,
I swore there was some new DLC I was reading about today.
I did see stuff in the shop, but I wasn't sure what it was. But we at least have the vanilla version downloaded, and we're going from there. So
nice. Mike, what have you been playing lately?
Well, I played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for a little bit, but that was like right at the beginning of the week. But I've been basically more like testing things. Well, you know about this thing, Nate. You have it yourself. And for podcast listeners, holding a huge giant screen.
Lindsay's face.
Make a giant Switch here. It's not the Switch XL. It's the Switch XXL. You know, you go to the store.
Triple XL.
Yeah.
in your toaster.
Yes.
This doesn't not fit on my. So yeah, I mean, no. Look at the back. Look at the back. This is a battery.
Oh my, yeah.
External battery goes with straps on the side. So I've been testing this thing here. Some really cool headphones that they sent me recently. Apparently, it makes everything sound 4D. I don't know how. Yeah, I mean that's on the box. I'm like, what?
It pumps smells out to you?
We've entered the fourth dimension.
I'm like, why can't you just say surround? You know, surround.
Yeah, unless it smells. Like 4D theaters have smell, and like sometimes you get a little wet. You know, you get a little other sensories going, but.
But yeah, I mean, I'm testing that. The reviews coming up this weekend, and then I'm also testing those 4D headphones. It's cool because you push a button, and then when you play Breath of the Wild, you can actually feel like you're actually there. You feel like all the sounds coming from different locations, but really, really elevated. Like I think they push surround to another level. and then you can just turn it off whenever you want. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I've been doing that. I mean, just actually been playing games, but not really playing game, more like testing the games on the devices.
Sure.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't opened mine yet. I'm waiting because I'm going to include it in like a Switch accessory featurette. Yeah. But I already have some very interesting thoughts on it. But I'm gonna keep it to myself because I got to keep it for the video. As a starter right now, I don't even have a battery bank that works anymore.
Yeah, but buy one.
Found that out.
Yeah.
I used to have like 6 of them, and they're all dead, and I can't get them to charge anymore.
Where did you guys find this?
They reached out to us.
Oh yeah, they reached out to us for products. Yeah, when you
I never heard of them either. Now I've heard of this kind of product. I've seen other videos on similar products like this, but I've never actually. I don't know. The company just reached out and said, "Hey, do you want one?" I'm like, "Sure." Are you gonna make a video on it? I'm like, "Maybe." I don't know. Okay, well, we'll send it to you just in case.
I got my thoughts on it. Listen. I got my thoughts on it just because, as you guys know, I'm pretty sure. Well, for Lindz to know, I'm actually legally blind. Okay, I can't see out of one eye. I got like 50% of one eye. So this for me is something I've never played handheld before, and then you'll hear more in the review. But this for me is a game changer. Like for me personally, this is the very first time I've ever played a game in handheld. So it actually, I'm speaking from a point of view of that. Like, okay, wow, I can actually go to in my car while my wife drives and just play, or I can go, in the kitchen or whatever, play outside. I can actually experience that for myself now with
That's
this
incredible.
Yeah. So at least I guess I'll speak more in the review, but at least in my first impression, I like it.
No, it's good. I mean that's a use case that's probably underspoken for
right.
It weighs 20 pounds, so it's really really heavy.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know that I would ever strap the battery to the back. I might put the battery in my pocket and just run a cord to it.
Could you imagine laying in bed playing that, and then all of a sudden you fall asleep and just right on your face? Oh,
that would be hilarious.
Yeah,
Smoke out of the sheets, like
yeah.
That would be so funny.
That'll work.
So Eric, what have you been playing lately?
I actually did. I know we hung out Monday. I had off work, so we played some Madden.
Madden 23.
But while playing Madden, I did get in some more TMNT. I'm still enjoying it.
Yes.
Still awesome. The challenges are still bullshit.
What do you expect?
But yeah, no, it's good. I like it. And that's all I played.
That's your favorite game, right? Right now, so far.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
I don't know who the heck that is calling me. Leaf Homewater.
Yeah, fun.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Verified phone number.
Shout out to Leaf.
Shout out to Leaf Homewater. I have been playing, Madden 23, of course, because that just came out. And you guys know, a lot of my followers know that I'm in leagues for that. So I've been playing that. When it comes to Switch, my Switch is still sitting here from where it was last week. So haven't really played on this Switch. Doesn't mean I haven't played. I actually was playing Super Mario Party with my kids for like 5 hours the other day. And not the new one, not Superstars. But yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. As it usually is. It's a party game, right? Like it's meant to be played in that way. The unfun part is that I have a sore loser of a son who doesn't,
Oh no.
when he loses, it's chaotic. So like I would spend half the time in the mini games trying to help him win by getting rid of everybody else.
Yeah.
but so I kind of made it like my personal challenge. Can I make him win every mini game? Is it possible? I should be better at this game than my kids. Is it possible? No, it's not. There's too much. The game kind of has a rubber bandiness to it, like Mario Kart does, where it's just gonna overcorrect if a player's too good.
Oh yeah.
So I started getting eliminated first right away in a lot of the mini games.
Whoops.
So what are you gonna do? But did some of that. It was good fun. I do need to get back into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm really mad at myself that I've gone most of this month and I haven't really progressed as much as I would like. And I know Splatoon 3's coming up, and I already know I'm going to play a lot of that. So it's just been really busy. The biggest thing in the month of August for me is my kids have to get ready for school. I have been to like 5 different school meetings. I've all the different shopping trips for all the school supplies and school clothes. We still don't even have, my one son needs new shoes still. My daughter needs an entirely new wardrobe because their dress code changed at her school. So
nice.
Yeah. So there's just, and I still don't even have that done. So it's just going to be one of those months sometimes where things just catch up too much. You know what's funny though? As soon as school begins, things get a lot easier.
Right.
My kids are just gone half the day, so that really frees things up quite a bit. So I'm kind of looking forward to next week Tuesday when that happens. So,
Dude, you're lucky. We homeschool. We homeschool. I have my 12-year-old.
Yep.
And of course, my adopted 24-year-old. She has Asperger's syndrome. She's autistic, so she's at home. But we homeschool both of them. One is taking college courses, and the other one is taking middle school. But yeah, so you're lucky, man.
Yeah, we homeschooled all of 2020.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was very rough. I don't want to go back to that. I really don't. I also don't think the kids learned anything, to be completely honest. Maybe that's a knock on my ability to teach, but I mean, I didn't go to school to be a teacher, so
there is that.
Let me just say, I have a new appreciation for actual teachers.
Yeah,
like my sister's one, so I should. Hey, you're in Minnesota. Teach my kids. Just come on over.
Yeah, right.
Come on over. Take
Just
care of
send a Zoom meeting up in your classroom and
no, they just
watch
ignore her.
Yeah.
They would put the tape over their camera and just walk away.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was an ESE teacher for 5 years, special needs, and my wife is a teacher for 20 years, ESE. But we've never taught in a regular environment, like with with 20 kids. Our kids are like just 5-6 students in a classroom.
Sure.
They're like 10 feet tall, but never in a regular classroom setting like that. But so our younger daughter for middle school, like, what the heck happened to math? Why did they change math?
Oh my, okay. And you know what's funny? The math that they've implemented isn't actually approved by real mathematicians. It's just it's just a political move. It has nothing to do with actually improving math. Many other European countries have completely banned that style of doing math because it's not math.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing they teach now. It's like the only thing they teach now.
Listen, let me give you an example. There's a problem, right? For example, let's say 5 plus 3. All right. There's 10 ways to get to that 5 plus 3. Mm-hmm. All right. As long as she shows 10 ways to get there, even if it's not even correct, it's let's say 5 plus 3 equals 20. She shows 5 different ways to get there. Mark correct. I'm like, what?
But the answer is wrong. No, doesn't matter. They showed their work, and they showed the methods we taught them to get to the answer. But your method got them the wrong answer. Hold on. Let me show my kids something quick. Here's 5 pencils, and here's 3. Count them.
Exactly.
Look at that. They got the right answer. Yeah. Oh, man. That was a difficult way of teaching. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was just...
Dude, it's bad. No, I was bad at showing my work back in the old method, but that's a whole different story. That was just teachers getting grouchy at me thinking I'm cheating. And I'm like, nope. Go ahead. Give me a problem.
They had me in school until they threw in imaginary numbers, and as soon as they said imaginary numbers, I was out.
Oh, those are fun.
I mean,
aren't imaginary numbers
you're not
great?
wrong.
Aren't they great?
So we have imaginary numbers. So I'll be imaginary too. Just pretend I'm here.
Right, exactly.
Man, if we could just pretend the numbers, then is this all pretend? Can I just pretend I got an A?
Right.
Anyways, so yeah, that's just, I guess, what I've been playing lately. And yeah, this weekend I'll be playing the Splatfest for Splatoon 3 on Saturday.
Nice.
Might be live streaming. Don't quote me on that yet. We have we're still in August, so the busyness hasn't stopped. So I think the busyness is being pushed to Sunday instead of Saturday, so I might be okay, which I really hope, because I would love to play the Splatfest and actually stream it for you guys if I can, but no, I can't promise that, of course. All right. I think that means we have to get into our next topic. And as I said off camera, I'll say on camera. Lynn, do you want to lead us here in this one, on topic one?
Right. So Denuvo does and is doing, right? And together we can come together to do as Denuvo does, right? We're doing and doing as we do. That's what I got.
Perfect.
Okay.
That sums it up.
So
Next topic.
yeah, no, we don't need to react.
Next topic.
That just perfectly encapsulated the entire conversation.
That's the whole thing, the whole topic.
All right, so first off, let's get into the official announcement for it. Denuvo is coming to Switch. That's the news. That's what we're going to talk about. And let's just talk. I'm just going to go over the official, like the language they're using. So not going to misquote them. And then a background on what Denuvo is, because, hey, it's never really been on consoles at all. So it's coming to Switch. And so a lot of people might not know what it is because it's really well known in the PC gaming community. So it says the innovative solution solves a long-lasting issue of emulating pirated Nintendo Switch games. And I corrected their English, by the way. This is improper English. Nintendo Switch games on PC, addressing the widespread piracy on multi-platform releases. So what you can read from that is this is an attempt to solve piracy of Switch games. This comes from Amsterdam, which can explain why the English isn't perfect. Denuvo by Erdetto, the global leader in providing security solutions for video games on desktop, console, and mobile platforms, is pleased to unveil a revolutionary technology to protect games launching on Nintendo Switch from piracy. The announcement comes as the video game industry is gathered for this year's Gamescom, currently taking place in Cologne, Germany. Nintendo consoles have long suffered from piracy issues, and the Switch is no different. Even if a game is protected against piracy on its PC version, the released version on Switch can be emulated from day one and played on a PC, therefore bypassing the strong protections offered on the PC version. This can happen with any of the numerous games available on Switch. By preventing piracy on Switch while blocking unauthorized emulations on PC, studios are able to increase their revenue during the game launch window, which is the most important period in regard to monetization. The Nintendo Switch emulator protection will ensure that anyone wishing to play the game has to buy a legitimate copy. As with all other Denuvo solutions, the technology integrates seamlessly, it's interesting language, into the build toolchain with no impact on the gaming experience. It then allows for the insertion of checks into the code, which blocks gameplay on emulators. And here's a quote. We at Denuvo understand that piracy negatively affects the gaming industry and are working with the industry parties to ensure they have the latest protection technologies available to them. Our team is excited to provide a solution that helps the developers and publishers help fight the issue of Nintendo Switch piracy. That comes from their managing director. And then, even though it's hard to pinpoint the exact number of players who emulate Switch games on PC, it is easy to find online forums dedicated to emulation and piracy, which it is. The most popular of the groups has more than 1 million followers each, etc., etc., etc. So that's the basis, is they're trying to solve Switch piracy, which on the surface, I would say to many Switch owners, maybe doesn't sound like such a bad thing, especially when we're having a bunch of game leaks all the time. Hey, solving piracy sounds like kind of a good thing. Well, the problem with Denuvo, and this is just based on the history of this particular thing that's called a DRM, is that on the PC side, their claims that it does not negatively impact games is completely false and made up. Every game, and I mean every game, that uses Denuvo on PC runs worse than when someone hacks it and removes Denuvo from the game. Like 20 FPS worse on the same hardware. That's a significant impact on performance. So it does actually affect the gameplay experience. But it's not just that, because the gameplay experience isn't just the actual performance of the video game from a technical perspective. How about the fact that when you own a legitimate copy and you're on Steam and you decide, hey, I'm playing this game, but now, I'm on my laptop and I'm just going to keep playing it and take it with me on the go. And where I'm going doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter. I own the game. I already have it loaded up. I'm good to go. Well, because it's a DRM, it does online checks. And the moment that it checks online and sees you're not connected to the internet, it doesn't just assume or remember that it already did an online check when you booted the game. No, we can't go off the fact that we already know that you're running a legit copy. It might not be legit now. So then it boots you out of the game. And this will happen. Games that don't have autosaves, done, boom, out, boom, you're just kicked out of the game. And even in circumstances where you are connected to the internet, sometimes it'll think you're not connected and boot you out anyways. It has always been funny because Denuvo on PC, the reputation basically is people who pirate the games end up with a better experience. And remember, this is what is supposed to prevent is piracy, because every single game that ever has had Denuvo, hackers have found a way to remove it. And so then pirated gamers end up with a better experience than people paying money for legit copies. Now you enter the Nintendo Switch into the equation, and the obvious concerns come up. If this affects PC game performance, how is this not going to affect Switch performance, which is even more limited hardware-wise? On top of that, pirated games have not really shown to be hurting Switch sales so much when you consider the sales of Switch games. As an example, it's a topic for later, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is essentially completely leaked. And does anybody think that's going to hurt the sales of the game, that it's not going to go on to send 10, maybe 20 million copies? So it's not really even doing what it claims to do, which is increase sales at launch. Now they use the words at launch because they all know the games will be hacked eventually and people are going to remove it, just maybe not day one. Like that's the whole idea. Oh, day one they won't remove it. But I want to get your guys' thoughts because, I'm going to send this to Mike because I know that he at least had heard of Denuvo because the moment he read the topic, he's like, that's not good. So what do you think, Mike? What? Because this is now an open tool that's now available for everyone to use, and we already know that when it's available, companies will use it.
I remember this very, very, very clearly. Like me playing on PC games, like playing Final Fantasy VII on PC, and the game just completely freezing or stuttering, or just like crashing at the craziest moment when you play. So, I mean, we're talking about this was about 10 years ago, but now for the Switch, we're talking about gaming PCs here, and this slows down gaming PCs when it comes to gaming. So imagine the Switch. Okay, so I'm all for getting rid of piracy and making sure that our developers get paid well and because they work hard and I know they need a tool out there in order for them to be able to reap their benefits, because man, we get games like Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. These games don't come easy. They probably work overnight on these games, making sure these games are top notch, and then for somebody to come here, steal those games and just kind of just give them away like nothing. It's a sad thing, and I know we need something in place in order to combat that. But why? Nintendo can actually do something on their own to combat this. Why go externally and then get something like Denuvo, which by the way rhymes with Menudo, to implement a technology that already has a bad rep, like a really bad rep. Checking your game every single time on the same exact console to check if it's a pirated game or not, the same exact game, the same exact file, it's crazy. So I've experienced the technology. I don't know a lot about the technology. I have experienced it, and it's not great. It's not great at all. And I know on the Switch it's going to be a disaster because some games, for example, imagine playing Zelda, okay, the Warriors one, okay, the last one that came out.
Age of Calamity, okay,
Calamity, and then having this thing check, running in the background. Imagine like the glitches we're gonna have. I think that every game right now on the Switch is running to its full potential because it's using the entire hardware that it has, the full capability. Now, if you inject something in there that's going to interfere with your experience with what the Switch is trying to do, then you're going to have a mess. And is this a final thing? Is Denuvo really coming to the Switch, or is this just? Yeah,
Yes. Now, it's up to developers to use it. It existing and being able to be injected into the tool chain is one thing, but developers have to use it. We just know a lot of developers on PC do use it. And those same developers release games on Switch. So it's like
that's good news. Well, that's good news because that means that at least those developers who are worried about performance, and they could test their devices, test their games before they ship them out. They know what to expect with this software, with this whatever code they have within the game. So at least it's not an every developer thing. And I see hope there. I see some hope.
So you see some hope because those same developers have that choice on PC and they still release it despite the issues.
Oh man, yeah, but yeah,
like that's the problem. They have that exact option on PC and they just don't seem to care.
Yeah, I don't know what to say there. PC is a more like PC is a more it's a bigger place to pirate games and so I'm guessing that you can pirate anything on a PC. So I'm guessing I don't know what to say about this, man. I just don't want it to come to the Switch, and I'm happy that it's an option for developers. Some developers might
That's
implement
all it's ever
it.
been. It's all it's ever been.
Yeah, if their game can handle it, maybe they're gonna have to sacrifice a few things in order to make it run well because that's something good. You can tweak your game, make sure that your game is running well with this implemented, and then release it. But I mean, at the end, I know what they're fighting for. They're fighting for their livelihoods, and I support that and understand that. But
and I want to be clear because some people are going to be like, well, that's what physical's for. Physical PC games have Denuvo on them.
Oh yeah.
So there's no guarantee that Denuvo won't just be packed in with the physical cartridge either, which means that you could have a physical cartridge, not be home, and not be able to play your Switch unless it's connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Now for that particular game, of course. Now I don't to quelch anyone's overarching concerns. I don't think Nintendo is going to take advantage of this, even though they have the most pirated games right now in the entire industry. I don't think they're going to take advantage of it because we see what Nintendo's doing, how they're pushing the Switch to its max already. And so like if they implement something like that and they do see a performance hit or they do see like, hey, this kind of defeats the purpose of the Switch. You're supposed to take it with you on the go. You're not going to be connected to the internet all the time. So I could see Nintendo just not willing to interrupt the user experience for it, even if it can help stave off piracy at launch. And again, the big thing to remember, folks, is when they say at launch, they're not saying that these companies are removing Denuvo. That's them admitting they know that people will work around it. That's why they said they're only promising the effectiveness of it at launch. That doesn't mean that it's still on the developers to decide to remove it. And a lot of developers on PC don't. Some of them leave it up the entire time. Some do. Capcom, I believe, has removed it from some of their games, but like this is like 2 years after the game came out, they remove it.
But here's the thing: once people know how to remove it from
but you
a
can't
Switch game,
but you can't remove it from the legit copy. That's the problem. It just doesn't stop piracy.
Yeah.
It stops it temporarily at launch to increase sales. That's their claim, anyways.
But here's the thing: it's on everything. So once people know how to remove it, those new games coming out with the Denuvo, they already know how to remove it.
It's actually slightly altered per game, so it's not as simple as I know how to remove from one game, now I can remove from all of them. That's not.
I mean, I really think that this is probably not going to have as much of an effect as what they're thinking it's going to, just because of. I'm guessing it's going to be similar enough for people to remove it once
people
they
that
figure it
pirate Switch games. That don't buy them, because I want to be clear. There's a lot of people right now that are playing all their Switch games on Steam Deck, and I know a couple of my friends that are doing that. But every Switch game on Steam Deck, they bought it. They have a Switch. They bought their digital copies. If it's digital only, they bought their physical copies. They just don't play them on Switch because they want better performance. So they play them on Steam Deck, which to do it on Steam Deck, unless they're dumping the files themselves, and most of them are not. They're downloading ROMs off the internet and playing them. And, that gets into that gray area morally where people are like, well, at least they still bought the game. But we also know that those could be outliers. A lot of people doing this might not be buying the games at all. And that's what this is supposed to help with. The thing is, it's just not really working on PC. Almost every game that comes out on PC is cracked within a day. Literally within 24 hours, it's cracked by somebody. And pirating is just like Hey, guess what? People who don't want to pay for games that are pirating them, you don't think they'll wait a day? they'll wait a day and just pirate it. So I do think Nintendo will not do it for their games, which is the good news. We don't know for sure, but I just don't see Nintendo wanting to hurt convenience of their entire idea of switching and going on the go with it. But does that mean the next Ubisoft game coming out? Example, we don't have Sparks of Hope yet. Ubisoft likes to use Denuvo in everything. And there's a realistic chance that Sparks of Hope, which is not made by Nintendo, could end up with Denuvo in it at launch. And that's the part that scares me, because companies like Ubisoft do use this heavily. But again, nothing's happened yet. This is just like the fear, because if you're a PC gamer, you know how bad this is. How real. This isn't. I get what it's supposed to do, but the only people that seem to suffer aren't the pirates. It's the actual consumers, and that's what sucks about it. At least that's what it's been so far, and Denuvo has not proven any other way. Like it's weird to me because I don't understand. It's clearly difficult to create anything that can stop piracy because you can't stop people from programming. When you have programmers dissecting your program to make it playable without buying it, what are you going to do? It's pretty difficult to stop that. So putting measures in, and I get the online check measure is one of those simple solution. You got to do an online server check. If the game doesn't do the online server check, it shuts down. But the problem is that's reliant on the internet that people don't have everywhere and don't have reliable. When I walk outside of the Wi-Fi range of my house, I have a single bar on my phone. I don't even have a reliable internet on my phone in my neighborhood. So I think this is one of those situations that I hope companies don't use it, and I hope because Switch has been out so long, they don't decide to use it now. But the fact that it exists now, I think this company is going to make sure it's ready day one for the next platform from Nintendo. And our company's going to jump on then. And again, Ubisoft, it says, has a long history of using it. So unless Nintendo just won't let them put it on that game. But I don't know how much say Nintendo really gets because they fully trust them after the last one.
I mean, it is Mario, so...
It is Mario, but Denuvo won't tarnish Mario's reputation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This is a situation that it's just... As someone who buys all my games, I'm the one who's scared. I don't think a single pirate is shaking in their boots about this.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
None of them are worried. So
I just hope it's a modified. At least it's a modified version of the software or the code that made specifically for the Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Switch has a lot of things that first thing, PC, it's always connected. You're always connected to the internet. You have a laptop, always connected. Switch, it's everything. You have to take it with you no matter where you go. So at least I hope that there is somewhat of a modified version of this that doesn't require you to be online all the time, and that doesn't require multiple checks every time you play. You know what I mean? So I've experienced that with the Nintendo Switch, having the secondary Switch, and you have to every time you play your secondary Switch, you have to kind of do that. It's annoying to have that check all the time, and then having your phone up here connect to Wi-Fi on my phone.
Well, what I don't understand about Nintendo's method with that, because this kind of goes into the digital stuff a bit, is that if you buy digital, like physical games, it's not a problem with, obviously, but digital games, they're already tied to your account. So they're already on Nintendo's server as you own this game. So if you go to boot up that game and you're already logged in on your Switch in your account that's connected to the internet, then why did they have to go online and check again when you already know I own this game? Like you already have it on your end. I own it. And by the way, Eric and I share Xbox stuff all the time. We have one Game Pass subscription. We share all our games. We don't have this problem. They're not every time I load a game up, let me go do all these online checks. Like, no, if I'm already on the right account, like if he's on my account, he can just boot it up. There's no, because they already know that this account owns this game. We don't need to worry about it. And Nintendo, that's just Nintendo in general. Now throw another layer on top with Denuvo. So now you're getting a double check. And then it's rechecking while you're playing in the background, as I say, without hurting the performance of your game, because performing background tasks on a platform that has very little RAM really low CPU, that's not going to affect anything. Nintendo just, conveniently said no voice chat on Switch because, they totally thought that their system could do it and have it not affect game performance. And I know some people, again, they go to the physical route. Denuvo's included in the files. It would be there on your physical cartridge as well. And that's kind of the thing to remember. This isn't just a digital protection. It protects everything. Because what do people do? Where do you think they get the pirated files from? They got a cart and they offload it. They want the protections on all of it. That's the whole point. Those pirated copies that they're preventing, they came from a physical cartridge. They're going to put the protections on the physical cartridge. It would defeat the purpose if they didn't put the protections on the physical cartridge, because you don't even have access to the digital until the day it comes out. It's the physical cartridge that needs the protections, and that's where it's going to be. It's again, nothing's happened yet, but just expect some horror stories in the next year when some companies start to try to use this technology, and they'll claim, "Oh, when we tested it, it was fine." Sure, in your ideal situation, in your code base, maybe. But did anyone at your staff take it home and try? So, yeah. Again, I don't think Nintendo themselves will use it, but Ubisoft has a history of using it. Capcom has a history of using it. EA has a history of using it. Pretty much every big developer, big AAA developer has a history of using it because they all believe that it will increase sales. Don't know the data supports it, but I don't have the sales data, on the PC side to really examine and see, hey, maybe since they used the Denuvo, sales did increase, and that's why they keep using it. And third parties would probably like to see their sales increase on Switch, but I don't know. Lindz, who didn't know a heck of a lot about this, just sitting back and listening in. You got any thoughts you might want to add now that you kind of have a background a little bit here?
I think you guys, really translated the doing and dud and did really, really well. I think we were both on the same page right there with what we were saying there at the beginning. I mean, I think personally, like, as someone, if I were in the shoes of a game developer, right? Again, we were talking about Scarlet Violet, like any different game on the Nintendo. We already know that every single person at those companies are working themselves into the grave. They're incredibly hard workers and have done, incredible things. I think it's really great that they're putting, at least tools in the hands of these companies for them to succeed and get the recognition that they deserve. Because I think that's stuff that doesn't get taken into account a lot of times is the perspective of the people who are actively working on these games. So I think if I were in the shoes of a game developer, that, giving your baby a chance to succeed in life, if we're going to put it in layman's terms, is a really good thing, because obviously you would want your child to do well. So I think that's just kind of the easiest way to put it in people's minds. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the way I look at it. But I mean, obviously you guys know far more about the company and everything like that. I told them, for everyone who's listening, I hadn't even really heard of Denuvo until like literally I looked at the show notes and I'm like, I can't say a word on this. So that's why I was sitting back and like taking it all in, because I was kind of learning about all of this with you guys. So yeah, that's just kind of been my perspective on it. But I think you guys did a great job explaining it, especially to people like me who didn't really know much or hadn't heard of it, because I'd really only been a Nintendo gamer. So yeah, I didn't come across it.
This is like one of those protections that reminds me of, because I'm a parent. So like there'll be all these things that come out that claim oh man, if you do this with your child at this certain age, they're going to have a higher IQ by the time they're 12. And so you should, pat your kid a certain way, or like tip them upside down and let them burp that direction. And that's somehow better for it. And then like the science is out there that shows, well, okay, this isn't actually true, but this is this pseudoscience thing that people want to believe. And I feel like that's kind of what's happened with Denuvo is it sounds good.
Great in theory.
Doesn't actually end up stopping what it claims it stops. But it sounds good, so let's just do it anyways, even though the proof is in the pudding that piracy still happens, and it still happens practically day one, even with the games that have it.
I'm on the team that I feel like we should pay some of these people to join the, what is it, the opposite of the dark side?
The Jedi?
The Force?
The Force, the Jedi?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
the opposite of the dark side, you know, because
The
we have a
light
lot of
side, the good side.
light side, right? Did Star Wars ever come up with the side besides the dark side? Just they mentioned the dark side.
The
a lot.
Republic.
Side.
For
The
the Republic.
Or whatever the good side, you know, because
The rebels.
Whatever the good side is doing to protect, the dark side is just throwing it back in their faces. This goes out there. It tries to do the job of protecting their intellectual property and all the hard work. But then again, these people come over, they break it like it's nothing. They break into it and then nothing really happens. And what I see is that there's, for some reason in this area, there's no advancement. You know, I mean, with the technology that we have nowadays with the mines, I mean, they're talking about going to Mars, for God's sake. Why can't we find something like a fingerprint to imprint in games where only the owner of the game can play this game? You know what I mean? I mean, something has to happen in this field, and somebody has to come up, not me because I'm not that smart, but somebody has to come up with something to implement into each of these games that without that specific code or whatever, this game will not play. And then if you try to get into this code and try to adjust it or try to alter it in any way, you break the entire thing.
So,
you know,
just put an NFT in it.
my question to you is, I'm hearing all this, and I think this is entirely possible with digital games because you can hard tie them to an account, and if any other account tries to access that specific one, it won't let it work. But how does that like work for physical? Because then to do that would be hard tying a physical copy to an account, which then makes it no different than a digital copy. You can't resell it.
And unfortunately, that's where
At the same point in time, that's what they want.
we are headed in a digital world.
Sure.
So this is just another.
So we're just giving up on physical. Goodbye, physical.
Yeah.
Shoot it out in the space.
Exactly. This is just another reason they're gonna
I'm
say,
so
hey,
glad this isn't on my main channel right now. You would have just made me lose like 500 subscribers.
I mean, I'm not for going digital, but I'm saying, maybe it's just one more reason that when we do, if we do go digital, they're gonna say, hey, this is
another reason that we justify getting rid of physical medium. Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
But you know, what we can
it's
do.
not gone yet, guys. So hold on to your physical as long as you want. Me personally, I'm a mix of both. I go physical and digital, so
all we can do is us positive people, us people who promote the good and not the bad, us who follow the law, who buy our games legally. Let's try to have a louder voice than those who break the law. So I guess, you know, the more we talk about it, the more we stand up for it. Hopefully, we can convert some of those who are doing it wrong to come onto the good side, and hopefully we cause a little bit of change in the atmosphere. That's all we can do.
All right.
Yeah. Just a couple things here. I did do a little bit of reading while you guys were talking. It does look like it's not a constant check-in. It does kind of it's depending on the game. It depends. It's a couple days or even a week, where it's in between check-ins. So you do have the ability to check it in, go off and play it, but for someone like me who doesn't play,
does it give you a game
every day?
Does it give you an example game?
Huh? I don't remember. Possibly. Let me see if I can look that back.
I'm asking because that's what they've said in the past, and it hasn't stopped people from getting booted off. Mm-hmm. So that's known. That's what they've said that from day one.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
But I mean, that's what it's supposed to do, according to what I've been reading.
Just like it's supposed to not affect game performance.
No,
but
yeah. I'm just going off what I'm reading.
The marketing fluff.
No, for sure. So it may not be as bad as, you know, check in every so many hours. It's depending on the game. It could be a couple days. It could be a couple, a week or so. But for someone like me who doesn't touch their Switch every day, and I don't know if, every time you're connected to the internet,
it'd probably be checking you in every time.
Well, and that's the thing. If I forget to check it in before I go somewhere,
just can't play your games.
I'm borked.
Just can't play your games.
Right, exactly. But
your digital games, forget about.
I wonder if though too, if it's only, it doesn't check in X number of days. If like it does boot up, it tries to check, and if it can't check it, then it marks a day off. Every time it tries to boot up, it kind of like marks time and stuff like that. But
smart?
yes, but whereas if it can check in again, it resets the number of days and gives you that week again. Versus I check in one at this day, and then I have to wait a week, and then I can play in between there. But if I forget to do it by that 7th day or whatever, well, I'm SOL. So hopefully it's smart enough to, give me a couple days, and then if every time I'm actually connected to the internet, it re-updates that period of time, then it might not be too bad.
I can tell you right now, as a PC gamer, it absolutely doesn't do that.
Oh, fantastic.
My PC's never not connected to the internet.
Right.
And it still has to check in the next time I play the game. There are games that said, "Oh, the check-in's only once every 2 weeks." Then how come I've played it 5 times this week?
I think it checks in every time you load the game. It's just whether or not it'll boot you on that.
Well, then Ubisoft needs to do something about their last Assassin's Creed game, because Valhalla booted me.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I don't know.
But again, this is just... these are the marketing claims, not necessarily what happens out in the real world. Marketing claims are not always what reality is.
Oh, no, for sure. So, absolutely.
And I can only tell you my experience with it has been nothing. I've never played a game that has Denuvo where I didn't have a problem because of Denuvo. Just never. It just hasn't happened. It acts like it's just a seamless thing. It runs in the background, like, say, I don't know. It's like when Windows says, "Oh, Windows Update's never a problem," so it forces my computer to reboot without permission.
Right.
Oh, but I set it not to do that. It doesn't matter. It just does it.
Or as Lynn says, the last Windows updates completely destroyed her
audio. Why is it even touching the audio settings? What does that have to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't care. We're gonna do what we want because we're Windows.
Yeah. The other major issue I have with it too is, like, let's say a poor family who doesn't have internet, but somehow the kid got a Switch, or something for
download games at friends' houses.
Download the games at friends' houses, whatever, or it has a Switch with a single game. If that single game has that check-in, and he doesn't have access to internet, or that he or she, doesn't have access to the internet, that sucks for that kid.
So this came up once because, by the way, other consoles have DRM. Microsoft has DRM. They don't use Denuvo, though, to their credit, which is why there's less complaints, because the way Microsoft DRM works is basically it's a home console. It's meant to be connected to the internet all the time. I think they make that pretty obvious. Xbox Live and Game Pass, you're supposed to be connected to the internet all the time. And so home consoles usually have a bit less of an issue with it because they're connected all the time, but Microsoft doesn't allow Denuvo on their platform. They use their own system, which the reason that they became a problem is the servers around launch time for Xbox Series were getting overwhelmed. And so they had to take them down, and nobody could play their games for like 4 hours, and people were just freaking out. What do you mean I can't play? I have a physical copy. What? Yeah, it's because all of their stuff requires that you're online to play it, or at least online to boot the game. You can go offline, and there are specific games you could still play offline, but a vast, like 90% of the library was you had to be connected to the internet. It's just that Microsoft did it in a way where it doesn't actually impact the game's performance and won't impact anything else so long as you're on the internet. And even when you get off the internet, unless you're playing an online game, you probably wouldn't even know. Like if you're playing the solo campaign, the single player campaign in Halo Infinite, and your internet goes down while you're playing, you're not booted out of Halo Infinite. You can just keep playing that single player campaign, and that's not really how Denuvo has really gotten it done. So DRM is still bad in general for consumers because obviously in the case of Microsoft, go down, I own a physical copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Why the hell can't I just play that on my Xbox without being on the internet? Well, it's just not the way the system is set up. Mm-hmm. But again, people kind of sweep it under the rug because it's doing the claims that Denuvo's claiming, but actually doing it. And other companies, I think Sony's got a few of their own as well on their system, but Sony's a little bit less so. Like if their network goes down, you can still play a lot of your physical games, so they're not quite as bad as Microsoft. And Switch obviously doesn't give a crap one way or the other because unless you're using a second Switch, and then you get into that whole, Nintendo requiring you to always check every game you load. It's weird. It's weird. Michael, you look bored over there. You ready to move on, buddy?
I am.
I could tell. This is a frustrating topic for anyone who's ever dealt with Denuvo. It's so frustrating.
I just hope I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, right. It's just,
hopefully they figure something out. But
here's the perspective. On this side of the room, we have two people who have basically no experience with Denuvo, trying to give it some credit. You know what? It says it doesn't really check that often.
Yep.
Oh, we are all for the developers getting their money. And then on this side of the room, we have the end user who's experienced, between me and Mike, what Denuvo's done to our gameplay experience. And we're just like, there's nothing good about this. Let's just get out of here.
yeah.
I mean, when you said about Microsoft doing their own thing, I'm like, wait, there's hope there because Nintendo can also do their own thing.
Yeah, the way Microsoft does it is wonderful. It works specifically because it's a home console and they built their ecosystem around the internet. Nintend's problem with doing it is that if they still do it built around the internet like Microsoft did, then what happens when you're not at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know that Nintendo can do a system like that.
How many times do we have to keep going back to Nintendo and anything online? They will find a way to screw up at some point. So,
Unless.
Hey, they're using the new servers with Splatoon 3.
Hey,
Let's give them a little credit, some progress.
something might screw up though.
Some progress. And also, can we not have our save files locked to our system so we can actually back them up in Splatoon 3? That would be great.
Nah.
I like when I would move switches that I don't lose my entire progress in a game. That would be really cool, Nintendo. And Splatoon's the only game Guess what, guys? I'm on a Switch OLED. You think I have any of my Splatoon 2 save data anymore? Absolutely not. It failed in the transfer, and then it failed in the hard transfer, and there's no way, there's no backups. And by the way, it's your online ranks as well. They just vanish. These are online only ranks. They just vanish. Like they didn't happen because it's only saved locally on your Switch. Your online rank wasn't actually saved online. I hope they fix that in Splatoon 3. We don't actually know. We're not going to know until the game comes out if they still work that way. But they are using the new servers.
Man, we love Nintendo around here.
Thankfully. I do love Nintendo.
No, I know.
Those new servers, by the way, people want, how do you know the new servers are any good? Monster Hunter Rise runs flawlessly and uses those servers. So that's the hope. Getting into the next topic then, something a little bit more joyous. See, wanted to get that negative topic out right away so we can get to, well, I guess the last topic might be negative too. I don't know.
Yeah, depending on your feelings of it.
Depends on how we feel about it. But this topic hopefully isn't that bad unless all of us just hate this game. And we're talking Sonic Frontiers again, and it's a constant topic that seems to come up every time a trailer drops. We haven't really talked about this since the Nintendo Direct back in June when that trailer dropped, okay? And that one, I think at the time we sort of go, oh, it's the best looking trailer so far, but we still have this whole, that's a trailer. We saw gameplay with IGN first. That gameplay wasn't exactly exciting. And now they dropped another trailer. It was re-uploaded by Nintendo today, but it was the same one that they did during opening night live yesterday. Yeah. And again, I think it's the best looking trailer to date. And it looks amazing, and it looks like Sonic, and this looks really, really exciting and really cool. And now I'm starting to get hyped. But I see Mike with his hands on his face, and here comes let's get to the realistic part here.
I'm saying it's the trailer that should have released in the first place.
Yeah, right? This trailer is amazing. If this was all we've seen, if we just saw the Switch one and this trailer, everyone would think this is the greatest Sonic game ever.
Show me this trailer 10 times. I don't care, and then show me nothing else. Like, well, why let AGN? Like they call it AGN,
IGN,
whatever.
Yeah.
IGN. Yep.
Why let these people take an unfinished game and give us a little hint? I'm like, I don't want to see an unfinished game. This is the trailer. Tris, I'm hyped for the game because of this trailer. I finally saw some storyline going behind it. I don't know who that character is.
It is called the story trailer. So
yeah. So I mean. That's what they had to do from the beginning, I mean,
they gotta make us earn it, Mike. They gotta make us earn the hype.
They are entering dangerous waters, trying to go against Pokemon just a week apart when it comes to release dates. I just have to put that like, wow, you guys have
multi-platform game though. They might not care about Pokemon.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, yeah, you got that right. But I'm saying on the Switch side, you know, Switch has 100 million accounts. They have this. They have to care a little bit, you know. So, I mean, but this is the trailer that they had to really show us to begin with because this trailer was amazing. It was awesome. You know, they showed us all of some of the zones, which was really cool.
Yeah,
This
multiple zones.
it felt like a Sonic trailer, but it felt like a Sonic trailer, you know, plus more. And now I believe that what they showed was maybe like the tutorial area, like we were talking about in the last podcast. Maybe that little zone where we are is a tutorial zone, and then what they showed us in the trailer is actually the actual game. You know, there's more to do. There's a lot more to explore. So I'm excited. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'll let you guys talk. But that's all I have to say.
Eric, got any thoughts?
The very first time I watched it, I'm like, I don't know if I really know all that much more. I've been watching it more and more here a little bit, and I still don't know how much more I actually know. To be honest with the story, I mean, you're finding out the ancients, and then looks like Amy is trapped in a bubble.
Well, one thing we find out is, at least to this point, we know an actual antagonist.
Oh, right, yeah.
We haven't had one to this point.
There is a
there hasn't been
bad guy.
there hasn't been a bad guy that's like the overarching bad. We just assumed, okay, it's not a robot because they said so. Well, is it?
Is it or not?
Is it? Now we question it.
Yeah.
Because this character comes in like every time. Oh, I'm about to say Amy. Oh, this character shows up. Oh. So, well, it doesn't tell us a ton about the story. It at least introduces the bad guy,
right?
Which it matters.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong.
But this trailer to me, what excited me was the gameplay. It looks like Sonic.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, if you don't think this trailer showed you much, go watch the first trailer.
Oh no, I trust me.
Don't tell me this doesn't show you.
It was.
Show you much.
I also think it. As you guys have said, it's the best trailer so far, and I think only because it's a minute and a half that I kind of was wanting more because it was good.
Yeah.
So, I've seen 8 minutes of absolute trash.
Well, and the thing is, I can't forget that 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was funny when I was watching other people reacting to this in the chat while it was happening yesterday. A lot of people said, "Oh, look, the world has things in it now," and I'm like, "Does it?
This little section does.
Does it? Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's this between section where he's running around doing these Sonic things. Yeah, that's not the main. Those aren't the main worlds. We already know that those are just between zones. How do we know that there's actually a lot of content on the island? Like, if you actually watch the trailer, where's Sonic running around for 4 minutes, running into a bunch of stuff?
Mm-hmm. Well, and how much of this was actual? I mean, there's chunks of gameplay.
But that's what I'm saying. It's chunks of gameplay, vertical slices. Mm-hmm. How do we know that what we saw back in June isn't actually what the game is?
Rewatching this, during the gameplay sessions, there's not a whole lot of enemies.
I know. I told you, it's a lot of
and then there's
cuts.
there's a lot of cutscenes here also.
The cutscenes, by the way, I never thought the cutscenes were going to be bad.
Right. But
it's like, if you actually
rewatch the first scissor reel of gameplay on here, and there's, I think, maybe 2 enemies in the whole thing.
Well, there's a few bosses and stuff. They kind of
the bird flies.
The bird flap its wings, though.
Wings. But like, that's the thing, though. It's a good trailer, and so was the last one, and it's great, and it gets you excited, and it shows you some exciting moments and some exciting fights and some exciting platforming. But also, hey, we got 8 straight minutes of gameplay in June, and it looked boring, frankly. And none of these trailers are really quelching that. It's just, hey, we have a lot of exciting stuff in this game, but what are we doing between it all? Because between it all is where you spend a majority of your time. And that's still my concern. This trailer did convince me to pre-order, but I can still cancel. My finger is tentatively over that cancel button. If more and more games, because by the way, it's playable at Gamescom. So by the end of this week, we should start seeing a lot more independent impressions of the game, not just from press and media. So there is that. So we might have a greater idea then. I don't know if it's the same demo that they play back in June. If so, then I guess we don't really learn anything other than they're pushing the demo that people didn't like. So that wouldn't be good. I mean, we did see things, confirmation in this that we knew because they already said there was going to be more islands, but we hadn't seen any other. And then in this one, we saw some new areas, desert area, I think a snow area too as well, if I remember. I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me at this moment. But
there's the city area.
Yeah,
kind of like a ruins area, like almost like a mall runner. And then looks like Green Hill Zone.
Those are the between zones. Those between. I'm not talking about the between zones. I'm talking about the actual island open world area. And so that we know the opening one, and there was a desert one I remember for sure in it that they just teased. So it's like, yeah, of course there was going to be more islands. We just haven't seen them. But Lindz, what do you think about this? Because I don't even know how much you even like Sonic. The blue blur.
Oh, I've been waiting. Okay, so I think that across the Nintendo basis, and this might raise some hairs, I think people are very, very quick to judge early footage and point a finger and be like, did you see the pixels on that tree? That tree is a bad tree, and like Nintendo needs to do better.
You tell you're a Pokemon YouTuber. Yes.
It's a very quick thing that people have happen. And a lot of times when the game comes out, people are like, oh, this actually isn't that bad, and it's really good. But people are so quick when they're given such a limited amount of footage to like hyper analyze and break down every single segment and like try to find things to talk about. And a lot of times, like, when there's not a lot of gameplay that's happening, you're going a lot solely on the graphics. And I feel like that's a very easy thing to focus at when they're not trying to give the entire game away. I grew up on Sonic. Sonic Riders, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Hero, Sonic Riders. Like, a lot of Sonic was what I grew up on. But I don't think a lot of people are playing Sonic nowadays. I feel like it was very, very big when we all were growing up. And then when the Wii came out, it kind of died and has just kind of like simmered there for a really long time. I think this game is very, very ambitious. And I think if done correctly, this could easily be the game that gets a lot of people who were really into Sonic back into it again. And even get like a newer generation into Sonic and be like, wow, this is no game I've really ever seen before, because it's so modern with it being open concept in comparison to Breath of the Wild and a lot of the way that Pokemon is starting to head right now, which I know we're talking about later. I think if done correctly, this has a ton of potential. And now that they're starting to tease more of like, now there's like enemies that are very different from what we've seen before and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool concept. And I think until it's released, again, it's my PokeTuber side showing, I feel like it's very, very easy for people to point a finger and show things that are wrong when there's not a lot being shown. But I'm really excited.
Yeah, well,
I
think it looks phenomenal. The trailer is stunning for what it is.
No, and I agree with you, but also at the same point in time, it's on the producer to if it's not to the point where you're comfortable showing somebody, don't show it.
But they were comfortable.
Yeah.
In fact, they have investors asking them about delaying the game, and they're like emphatic, no. People just need to play it.
Yeah.
So it's like...
But I think this was just a special kind of situation where this one just showed badly, but apparently when you do play it, from what we've read...
Oh, from the impressions that the media
it's
had.
Decent. So,
yeah, this is one of those games, and you know, to Lindsay's point, you know, the moment she started mentioning trees, I'm like, we're going there.
Yep,
we're going there.
Hey, we've been guilty of it here on this channel.
I criticized like the Sword and Shield visuals. I was criticizing it a little bit when they first showed it, and to be fair, I steered the conversation that way because I was tired of everyone showing no national decks. Okay, cool. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do about that? I can't say anything that nobody else has said about the national decks. You hate it? Okay, cool. Make a petition and you can change. What do you want me to do about it? Tired of that conversation. I'm still tired of it. To this day, some Pokemon fans won't let that conversation go. Oh man, Scarlet and Violet, no national decks, no buy for me. Okay, cool. See ya. Can we get the people who want to talk about the game now? But yeah, so like for me, I was like, well, let's talk about the graphic. Well, that wasn't the only thing I talked about. I remember talking about how like it showed certain angles in the trailers that like made this promise that sort of like, oh man, like you can go over that hill over there, except you can't. But it's there. It looks pretty behind that fence that you can't cross. That was that was one of the marks I remember making. No, lo and behold, I didn't know they were actually ever going to make a truly open world Pokemon game. So I just didn't actually think that was going to happen. So that, I can't say that about Scarlet and Violet now, because now whatever you see, you can just kind of go there from what we're aware of anyways at this point, especially with all those various ways to travel. So yeah, we'll get to that a bit later. But yeah, Sonic just, I think a few things culminate in this. Like Pokemon gets the criticism it gets, I think, just because it's so popular. And the games are going to sell well pretty much regardless of what they do. Sonic hasn't really been that way for a long time, honestly, until maybe the movies. The movies have really helped like reinvigorate the popularity of the character again. Now there's this whole generation, I think, of kids that know who Sonic is that know him from a movie. They don't know him from a game. They have no idea that he's a video game character. Maybe they know him from Sonic Run on their phone or something, but like they don't really understand, that Sonic has this deep history of games, because there hasn't been a Sonic game that's come out that's been, one, universally praised and sold well. So even like Sonic Mania, hey, it was universally praised. Yeah, the sales weren't the biggest. So this is one of those situations where Sonic just hasn't been good in a long time. And this game, I think a lot of even old Sonic fans, I'm an old school one. You so badly want this to be the one. We want this to be the game that not only is great, but reinvents the franchise at a time when Sonic is starting to become more popular than ever. And if we can have the movie franchise going with that solid cartoon franchise, going with better
solid
games going forward, it would be. It's just like we want it to be this perfect culmination. It's just the team making this hasn't pulled that off with a Sonic game in a long time. And this isn't me not like if you love all the old Sonic games, or not even the old ones, but like any of the 3D ones, really into Sonic Adventure or what, like you could be into all these Sonic games, and that's fine, and you could love each individual one. But most Sonic fans can recognize none of them really took off, not for a long time. So, can this be the one that takes off and gets to that 10 million plus sales mark and starts to go, okay, Sonic's back? And I
think the other thing we have to keep into consideration, though, is that this is the biggest potential any Sonic thing has ever had. And so considering the fact that it now has 2 movies introducing Tails, Knuckles, everyone at this point back into the game, not only are they like knowing Sonic, but they're knowing this entire universe just in a different way. Yeah. And so I think if they were going to make a comeback, the way that they're doing it is very smart, because this is easily their most ambitious product they've ever worked on. Ever. And so I feel like if they're going to try to come back into the scene, this is the way that they have to do it at this point, because it has to be so big and so just untouched by basically everything they've ever done before. And so I think even if this game isn't like the home run out of the pocket, it at least opens a lot of other doors, and they can at least get the feedback as to what it needs to be to make all of these games like Sonic Adventures 2, where they, branch off of the first one and have places to go in the future. And so, like I said, I think if they were to try to do what they're doing now, this is the biggest and best way that they have to do it in order to keep up with quite literally everything else that's on the market right now. Because Sonic Adventures wouldn't sell nowadays, recreating anything they've ever done before and is familiar that they're comfortable with, they can't do,
No, for sure.
Yeah, and the name Sonic Frontiers opens up a lot, because we have Sonic Frontiers in the game, but then again, we have DLC later on that could actually be another part of Sonic Frontiers, depending on how this first part does. And by the way, let me help out Sonic Frontiers out. If you order it right now at GameStop, guess what? You'll get a steel covered book, steel covered case with some jewels in a treasure box or whatever. So I think I like this. I'm probably gonna pre-order it from GameStop, because they have like the steel book with it and some jewels that come along with the Sonic Frontiers. But yeah, I agree 100%. The game itself has a lot of potential to open up more doors for the prior games that were lesser known, just because of generations. But I agree. I'm pre-ordering it right now, by the way.
And I actually do think that some of the nitpicking and stuff like that is coming from the fact that this is such an ambitious game, and the fact that Sonic in the past has had some dumpster fires. And so the fact that we are having such high hopes for this game, and all of a sudden, the first showing isn't necessarily the strongest. I think that's partially also where some of this is coming from, is the fact that, as Lynn said, it is one of the most ambitious Sonics there is. And we all kind of saw that from that first initial trailer when they first showed it. We're like, oh my God, this looks amazing. And then when we get our hopes up, and Sonic has had those dumpster fires, and so it's like, man, are we just gonna get more of the same? Is this gonna be another dumpster fire?
Yeah.
So,
and to address a point I saw brought up in the chat, someone mentioned that it doesn't really matter what the reviews say or whatever. Sonic always sells. I'm just on the video game sales wiki, and that is massively incorrect. Sonic CD only sold 2 million. Let's see. Sonic Adventure back in '98 sold 4.5. Sonic Adventure 2 only sold 3.3. The Sonic Adventure series collection sold 2.6. Sonic 4 Episode 1 only did 1.4. Now, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing in 2010, that one hit 18 million. But then Sonic Generations did 3.8. Episode 2 of Sonic 4 only did 0.41, so that's 410,000 copies. Sonic Lost World didn't even crack 1 million, only sold 910,000 copies. Sonic Forces only sold 121,000 copies. So it's safe to say just being a Sonic game doesn't mean you sell. And you want to know how big a deal that is? Sonic, the original Sonic the Hedgehog, combined sales 44 million. That's the first game. Wow. Second game, Sonic 2, not nearly as impressive, 15.5 million. Still significantly more than all those games I just said, which is why do you think they keep releasing Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic 2 all the damn time? Because those are games that people want to play. And this isn't saying that other ones didn't do well, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's another one people like a lot. That one sold 8 million. Still significantly more than a lot of the other games I talked about. So it's important to remember that Sonic had lost, and this was to credit Lindz over there. I mentioned, hey, you kind of hit a certain generation, and then people just stopped buying Sonic games. They just weren't selling. It's like it didn't matter anymore. Sonic Colors, 2 million. And now, Sonic Dash, that's kind of came back from a little bit. That's got 22 million. That's their mobile game. But that's not sales, of course. That's just installs. But Sonic Boom, everyone knows that one didn't do well. 620,000, not the worst selling Sonic game. But just being Sonic doesn't even guarantee 1 million sales. Even Sonic Mania, remember how I said, oh yeah, Sonic Mania was really well praised, but didn't sell very well. It sold exactly 1 million copies, roughly, right around 1 mil. Which, again, that's nothing compared to what Sonic used to be able to do.
Yeah.
So we see what the potential of Sonic is. It just hasn't gotten there in a long time. And it feels like the time is right now. The movies are more popular than ever. I mean, the amount of just rentals and sales, let alone the streams of it, massively outnumber almost any Sonic game that's ever come out. They have a third one coming because of how big the IP's become. They have spin-off ones they're planning to do now, where Knuckles is going to have his own spin-off movie because of how big it's getting. The cartoon series has actually gained a little bit of popularity as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's to this point that Sonic is more relevant outside of video games than inside, which feels really weird for a franchise that it started as a video game. But that's how poorly the video games have been doing. So just being Sonic doesn't guarantee sales. It doesn't even guarantee Kirby sales. Kirby sells about 1.5 to 2 million every single time. Sometimes Sonic's not even getting to that million mark. So it's not been a very successful IP in terms of video games for them for a long time. And that's what makes this one so interesting, and that why this one shocked many people when they did the very initial teaser for it, with him running through the forest and then out onto the plateau like in Breath of the Wild and doing that big world shot thing. And you're just like, Sonic's attempting to be that ambitious? It hasn't done well enough to be that ambitious. But the IP itself is healthy at the moment. So it's like, this is the time. If you're going to try to do something and make Sonic relevant again, this is there's a lot of hopes wrapped up in this one. And maybe that's why people are being so nitpicky.
Yeah, there's no better time than right now. I mean, if they were going to release a game like Sonic Frontiers, a game so ambitious, I believe this is the perfect time, just because everything else Sonic right now, when it comes to outside of the gaming industry, is doing very well. All these people who love Sonic now because of the movie. All these kids who love Sonic because of the movie, they can care less about how all this the trailer thing and how the trailer look and
yeah,
how
they're not even paying attention to any of that stuff.
As adults, it's nitpicking. I'm like, you know what I mean? They could care less. They like Sonic for Sonic because he's in the movies. He can run fast. He looks cool. You know what I mean? And they'll buy these games. And I'm pretty sure that Sonic is going to be a top seller this holiday season among kids and among people who are not that picky. You know what I mean? like we do it because we cover news all the time. So it's kind of our job to look at trailers, to break down trailers for people.
I'll also say people that play a ton of video games have a right to be picky because they have to pick and choose where to spend their money. You know?
Yeah.
Because video games are expensive. I mean, this could be a $70 game on PlayStation 5.
Oh my! Wow.
So I'm just saying that, like, video games are expensive. This is not
$60 Switch, but
yeah, I know, but yeah, people are still wondering how the hell it even runs on Switch, but
crazy.
The other thing people have to take into consideration too is a lot of the people who are like these really big gamers, they're playing games that are on completely different consoles as well. Like the graphic capabilities, just realistically looking at it from a data point perspective, are going to be very different on the Xbox and PlayStation or even just PC than it is on the Switch. And like we've talked about it before in this episode, like Switch is doing, it's kind of capping itself at what it can do at this point. And I know that that's like the criticism is like, oh, well, it could be this, but it's not. And so I think we're our own best and worst enemy when it comes to that as well, because people are going to be like, oh, well, look at, insert every other game that you can play on your PC and Xbox where it's hyper realistic graphics and like everything could be that, and so I think allowing ourselves to realize that like they're trying what they can at this kind of given point in time with the limitations that they're literally given within the Switch itself. Because as Mike said earlier, like the kids aren't going to notice, like they're so excited to see Sonic and it's bright and it's vibrant and it's the games that they're familiar with, like Breath in the Wild. And so with it being a game nothing like Sonic's ever done before, kind of like what I said before, like there's going to be flaws. And I think going in expecting them to be like, this is the trial run for what is about to come, and just being able to rejoice in the nostalgia and just the new wave of where Sonic is heading as that stepping stone is probably the best mindset for people to look at it, because it's not going to be perfect. And I think setting it up for the fact that it's going to be the Sonic game that changes everything is almost going to lead to like soiling your own expectations. And so I think that's the kind of mindset that people have to have, is the just overall technical differences between these consoles that people are comparing at the end of the day.
Yep, well said.
I like having Lindz on. She grounds the entire conversation. It's awesome.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Anyone else getting that, or should we move on? Eric's been clicking away over there, so I'm wondering if he's about to. Something's bugging him. Something's bugging him.
Sonic Forces sells an estimated 234,000 units in the first week.
Okay.
I'm trying to look.
You're looking up sales data.
Yeah.
I'm looking at pre-orders.
Sonic Forces is the most recent release, isn't it?
I don't know.
I feel like that was the most recent one. Maybe I'm wrong on that front.
So I mean, it's still. It's probably more than what you said it was, but at the same point in time, I don't know exactly.
I don't even know if I mentioned Sonic Forces.
I don't know.
I'm not even sure it's listed on this website right now. Oh yeah, I did. I mentioned it back in 2017. I could look up better data for it. If people get really upset about that data for that game, I can look up better data for it. A more up to date data. Let's go with.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone has any actual data besides launch.
Nice.
They never provided anything outside of launch data.
Nice. So I mean, it's possible that it did better than that, but.
So the 100 and
still doesn't...
so the data I said was for Switch only.
Okay.
They don't have that wiki didn't have the other platforms.
Gotcha.
For that particular game, they didn't have the other platforms on. So yeah,
but even then, I still doubt it's.
Yeah, we haven't. I
still doubt it's over 8 to 12 to 22 million. So
sure. Well, it's funny because like in 2020, there's a Reddit thread where someone's like, "Well, we haven't had any updates since launch, so."
Yeah.
Well, they said they're happy with it, and they're like, "Oh, well, maybe it sold 5 to 7 million," and it's like, but do you have any data to back that? No, just Sega saying they're happy.
Yep.
And like companies, when they're happy about the sales of a game, are touting the sales.
Oh yeah.
So I always say there's marketing reasons that companies will say they're happy with the sales, and that's because they know that they have a hardcore fan base for a particular IP that they're not done making games for. And so if they ever say we're unsatisfied with the sales, people panic. Like, oh my gosh, we're never getting a Sonic game again. Oh my God. It's like, just say you're happy with the sales, but don't actually give the sales.
Yeah. But yeah.
And the reason I also say that is because Sega operates a lot like Nintendo. If you actually go through their financials, which I've done on this channel before, they report million sellers. And that game has never been reported as a million seller. So maybe it's sold 900-something thousand copies. But they've never put it on their financial report as it's ever crossed a million. Either way, Sonic is not nearly as popular as it used to be game-wise. And this isn't anything against Forces. My favorite Sonic game is actually Sonic Lost Worlds. Is my favorite.
I thought you were going to say 06.
I'm one of the only people that has it as their favorite Sonic game. So, but that's me. In particular, obviously, the Wii U version, because I gotta get my Skyward Sword level in there. But I mean, that's not why it's my favorite. But I do happen to enjoy the Zelda level. It's kind of cool. Anyways, let's get on to our next topic here, because look, leaks for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been going on for a while. It's kind of insane. It's the early look, everything leaks for all Nintendo games on Switch. It just is what it is. But things don't leak 6 months ahead of time. It's usually around the time review copies are sent out. Somebody puts it on the internet, and then everything comes out. But this is weird. We've been getting leaks for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for a long time. And every time a new trailer is shown for the game, the leaks keep getting confirmed as real. And I guess people have tracked it back to potentially a playtest group out of China, potentially, or where the leaks are coming from. So it's coming from QA testers who were playing a version of the game. And I don't know if one of them jacked a copy out of work, or I don't know how it actually went down, because those details are kept with the people doing the leaks. But there's multiple leakers out there. And one thing that just happened quite recently is apparently the entire Dex has now leaked, which is one of the biggest leaks to happen for Pokemon, because that's every Pokemon in the game. New, old, everything. Now, look, I don't really care, because I stopped looking at Pokemon leaks after I started realizing they're real. And I think it's actually pretty easy to avoid Pokemon leaks. There are some, I will say, I'm not going to criticize them, but there are some Pokemon YouTubers that are a bit not very good at making sure their headlines are not just giving away exactly something from the game. Like, I have no problem if people want to talk about leaks. Not a problem. Like, let's say I had story detail leaks. I had legitimate information on Breath of the Wild 2 story. Well, I would just tell you, hey, here's a new story leak for Breath of the Wild 2. That'd be the title. You're not spoiled on anything until you click the video and actually see what it is. So you're only going to be spoiled if you want to be. Versus a lot of titles and thumbnails out there that are just like, here's this brand new Pokemon, and here's all the blah, blah, blah. Like, just right there, right on the open. And that makes it a bit harder to avoid some of the leaks. And avoiding leak Twitter handles and all, that's all easy to do. Just stop following them, or hide Pokemon Scarlet Violet and all its variations on social media. But I think what's interesting is that, well, all the games have leaks, and Pokemon is, I don't know if there's anything we don't know about Scarlet and Violet if you want to find out. Mm-hmm. Besides, I guess, how online functionality fully works, because that's not really part of the leak. It's interesting. I'm going to throw something, like, what are your thoughts? Like, this is what you do. This is your neighborhood.
It is.
Like, I don't live off of Pokemon. In fact, when I cover Pokemon stories, nobody watches my videos. They care about my Zelda stuff. They don't care about Pokemon for some reason. So, like, how do you feel? How does this make you feel? Because for me, it's easy to avoid.
So, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, and it really, I guess, depends on what kind of lens you're looking at under. In one hand, like, obviously, it's insane, the fact that people have this information already. Even considering the fact that, Scarlet Violet was announced in February. We had 90% of the game data mined by May. So it's insane that people are able to know that much about the game when it's not even in its final form, like that many months ahead of time, considering the game launches in November. In regards to like avoiding leaks, I mean, if you don't follow certain people and, you know, you put filters on, I really don't think it's that hard to like hide under a rock and not see it, essentially, just with, you know, the capability social media gives you. The one case situation that I think is very interesting is if we go back to Legends Arceus, every single person and their mother was promoting Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Nintendo never really did a hard push for Legends Arceus ever. Like, the marketing was just not the same. And so the fact that it was their most ambitious game, similar to, you know, Sonic Frontiers that we just talked about, the marketing was not there. And at the end of the day, if you looked at, you know, just the overall fan feedback, so many people preferred Legends Arceus to BDSP. So it was figuring out, like, why was that the case? And apparently, from sources that I have heard that I cannot confirm or deny, but, you know, take this with a grain of salt if you will, apparently the Nintendo company did not anticipate for Legends Arceus to do well, which is why they didn't promote it. And they were like, well, you know, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, those were some of our best selling games, so we're going to push those. And, you know, people aren't going to like this because, you know, they're just not. However, apparently, according to sources, people data mining Legends Arceus and leaking everything that was happening was actually what made people realize before they even launched a lot of trailers, because they didn't really tell us much about Legends before it happened.
Very poor marketing, yes.
Right, exactly. Apparently the data mining is what really got a lot of people actually on board with it, because they realized the capability of this game that they weren't showing people. And so in an almost backwards kind of mindset, a lot of the talk in the community is that the data mining actually almost like saved just the sales of Legends Arceus as an entire whole. And it got so many more people on board, and it created this hype that the Pokemon company themselves weren't, you know, catering towards, because there weren't commercials, there weren't, you know, everything else that they were giving Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. And people ended up liking the one that they didn't promote more. So it's kind of an interesting topic and conversation, and like I said, it really depends on what lens you're looking at, because it can tie back to the first conversation of like, well, is that fair to the developers? Like, you know, but it also can, you know, like we said, potentially save a game, you know, it's this whole up in the air kind of thing. So it's a very interesting topic, to say the least. I will say the thing about the Dex leaking itself as well is they didn't actually show, from at least what I saw, the image. There could be more that I didn't see, but they didn't show every single mon. They just gave what kind of mon it was. Like, for example, like, this is not a spoiler to my, you know, mind, at least. I don't think this is one, but they were like, this is a starfish Pokemon, you know? So they would say, like, what animal it was based after. They wouldn't be like, oh, here's the picture of it, its typing, its ability, etc. So they gave general, you know, guidelines as to what the Dex was going to be, but they didn't say, like, here's a pull photograph image of every single Pokemon ever created for the game.
That'll come in time.
It will, right? But at least as of right now, considering the timeline that we're in, it would be, again, nuts if we had all of that well before November.
It's funny because, like, when we get that information, it's like, well, then somebody already knows.
Right.
And they're holding back. And
Exactly.
I often wonder if, like, a leaker will hold back on some of that stuff because they want to just stay relevant for as long as possible. Like, hey, I'm controlling the flow of information, and I have all of it.
I mean, and if we're thinking of the same leaker, like, that person has been incredibly credible across, you know, multiple games.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's amazing the information that they are having towards everything, which again begs the question of, like, where is this coming from? How are they getting it? Again, like, almost the entire game being released in May.
Oh, yeah.
When it launched in February.
It's insane.
So it's a lot of questions that no one can necessarily answer, but we're all just kind of sitting there in awe at the situation is kind of the best way I think we all can phrase it.
So, do you like the Pokemon's leaked all the time? It's one of the most leaked games.
From a game developer standpoint, no. Again, back to kind of what I said at the beginning, I think I think as a game developer, you want to build the hype around it, and
Sure.
like everyone's waiting to be like, what are the final evolutions gonna look like?
And
you know,
unlike
it builds
Arceus, this wasn't
suspense.
one they weren't going to market, right? So
Right. And so from the game developer perspective of the people who had sleepless nights, who, like their job is to create the Quaxley line, for example, like the work and passion that goes into creating a mon that is going to be loved for like the next 3 years and is going to be such a staple of, what is about to come, like Quaxley is your life at that point, and everything that is
Yes.
Quaxley is your life.
That's my guy.
And so-
That's my guy,
Yeah,
Quaxley.
little lad. And so I think from that perspective, like, no, I don't think that it's necessarily like fair, because I feel like a lot of that hype of like, oh, wait till they see Quaxley's older brother, I think that loses a lot of the special touch that, like, as a kid, like when we saw like Monferno for the first time and then everyone was like, that's my boy, I feel like that loses a little bit of its touch. And that's,
I don't know. When they showed LeChonk,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Right. Right.
he instantly
again-
became. He just became Quaxley's best friend. Is what
Yeah.
just happened.
Yeah.
That just
Right.
happened.
Right. Thankfully, they were launched in the same trailer, so it's not like we saw LeChonk ahead of time, though, and we were
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
know.
he's real.
Yeah,
Like, those are two completely
Yeah, I know.
differently organic reactions.
Yeah.
And so I think playing into, like, that inner childhood of, like, the suspense and, the fun that's behind figuring out what the starter evolutions are going to be, I think that's great and fun, and I think is what makes a lot of Pokemon enjoyable, especially just experiencing things from scratch the first time.
I think as a
But like I said-
community too, it's fun to come together as a community and speculate.
Yeah.
And I always wonder if leaks ruin some of that when it's like, but we know we don't have to speculate anymore.
Right, and then that's where it gets interesting, because when you factor in Legends Arceus and how it had the adverse effect where people weren't as hype about it because they were like, oh, yeah, But
Yeah,
then
the
leakers-
visuals don't look great. Do we really trust them with this weird concept? There's no fighting Pokemon. It's weird catching. What?
Right,
but
and then when
we
people
just needed
gave
more
the
information.
information
Yeah.
that Pokemon wasn't, that's what made people be like, oh my god, why aren't they telling us this? And so, like I said, it's a really double-edged sword. And so,
What? The town evolves as you're going through it, and you can build new buildings. Yeah, cool. Never told us, but cool.
right,
Yeah, that's the thing.
it is a thing.
Eric over there, I see you laughing.
Oh, God.
What's going on now?
I'm just looking at the photo
of LeChonk? Is
yeah,
LeChonk
actually,
doing
no,
it to you
yeah,
again?
yes, LeChonk. No, they do have a blurred out picture of LeChonk's evolution.
Yeah.
But I'm just going through some of these Pokemon, and some of the pictures, like the stand-in pictures that they have, are freaking hilarious. So they have like a dolphin Pokemon, and then the evolution is Dolphin 2, and then they have this like Sidon looking from Breath of the Wild, this Sidon looking creature with the dolphin. So I don't know if that's gonna be the Pokemon itself or what, but that's
Yes, they put Sidon in the game.
yeah, right. And then they have another one with a beetle with the griddle poop emoji next to it. So I'm guessing there's some sort of dung beetle in the game. And then my other favorite one is there's an ostrich, but then it has like Cleopatra next to it. So some sort of Egyptian ostrich.
Egyptian ostrich.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some pretty interesting things on here. But those were the ones that just kind of stood out to me, and I just kind of had to laugh because
It'll be like it's sharing time. Eric's laughing.
yeah, right. Oh, sorry. There's also Icicle, which is just an ice cube with icicles next to it. So fantastic. Though, I mean, granted, these are all stand-in pictures. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Mike, got any thoughts?
Yep. So
Yup.
we
I'm
have,
just waiting for my name to be called. Yup.
let me tell you, leaks. I feel like I work for marketing companies. I'm not gonna mention who I work for because I've said this many times already. But I've
It'll
worked for
come up.
I've worked for marketing companies before in the past, and I know about leaks. Okay, there are two types of leaks. Leaks that ruined everything, like the ones you mentioned, and then leaks that, believe it or not, they are leaked by the same company
Intentional.
to create, just just to have people talking, because the more people talk, the more the less they have to spend on marketing. And I believe this was the case for Legends Arceus, Arceus or Arceus. I keep saying Arceus, whatever. She's a Pokemon expert. Is it Arceus or Arceus?
So I believe they confirmed it's Arceus, but it's just one of those things where people have said the name since
I've been saying it correct the whole time as Arceus.
Yeah, it's.
Oh my gosh!
It's kind of one of those.
Guys, I got an enunciation correct.
You pick one, and that's kind of what it's been stuck at.
I've said
everyone told me I was saying it wrong, and I'm like, I don't really know. I remember Arceus in a commercial, but maybe I'm wrong.
People were joking in Legends because you get the Arc phone, but if you abbreviate it, it would be the Arse phone. And so a lot of people were talking about, for British slang, you're quite literally calling that the butt phone, if that's the actual pronunciation.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
What do you mean?
How do we get on butt phones?
Butt phones.
Mike interrupted for butt phones. All right, go on.
Anyway, but yeah, a lot of the leaks out there, the minor leaks, like for example, let's say a color of something, some character. Believe it or not, a lot of this stuff is leaked by the companies themselves just to create chatter. The more people talk, the more hype people feel, the more excited. I know because I've been a part of that. I'm not gonna tell you where, but you know, it's like, okay, who do you have? I have this person here, and this person will tell this person, and this person will tell this person, and that person will actually tell the news. Where's my source? Oh, I got my source over here. But that source is not really the direct person. It's about 10 more people who basically passed it on, so that and you cannot trace it back to the actual, the company leaked it. You know, so that's how
a big giant game of Arse phone.
That it works a lot. It works a lot like that. So I'm not for leaks. I don't like leaks at all because I think leaks ruined Christmas for me. I like Christmas morning. I like being surprised. I like when I'm playing a game, I want to see what's happening and what's going to go on instead of having to know already, you know? But when it comes to, I love Pokemon. I'm not a Pokemon expert, but I do love Pokemon. Pokemon Legends, Arceus, I love it. Or Arceus. I love you guys were people were critiquing Sword and Shield. Man, that game got my daughter and I closer together. We were both playing, like, catching Pokemon on that game and trying to level up. And then I was like all like hyped up with my rabbit. Oh, I forgot the name of the rabbit. And then
Scorbunny?
Is it?
Is it Scorbunny? I didn't even play Sword and Shield, and I remember.
There you go, Scorbunny. Yeah. So I mean, I was hyped up with my rabbit, my Scorbunny, and she was hyped up with her other character or whatever. But I mean, we had a lot of fun, you know. So to me, Pokemon is a franchise that I hold dear and near. I'm not an expert. I will never be an expert ever because with my brain, I will never be an expert in anything. I'm just a fan who talks a lot and it can tell my opinion about things. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Certain leaks. I'm not gonna look at this stuff. Whatever. I saw that little your Google thing here. It says Pokemon.
I don't even know what it says. Oh yeah.
Whatever. I don't even know what Dex are. Is that a Dexter Laboratory?
Yes.
Some guy.
You don't know the Pokedex?
Oh, Pokedex. Okay, but I don't know the abbreviation. I'm not that you know that
that hip. That's you think I am?
I'm not that hip. My hip hurts, but I'm not that hip.
I think it's because I called it a Dex when I was like 12. So.
Yeah. I know Pokedex. I actually have I bought my first Pokedex. I'm gonna start my collection of Pokemon cards too. You know, and
good luck.
I'm learning, right? I just bought I went over to McDonald's just for the Pokemon box.
Nice.
You know?
Don't care about the card that might be worth something, but the box.
I don't care less about the nuggets inside. I just wanted that cardboard box and to put it back there with the decoration stuff. But yeah, I leaks. I like and dislike them depend according to what they are, and where they come from. You know what I mean? If those are the types of leaks, for example, the full game leaking out there to be pirated, that's just I can't stand that. I really can't stand that. That gets me upset and breaks my heart at the same time. You know what I mean? An entire story of a game getting out there as well is also a leak that I cannot stand because it's just ruining the fun for a lot of people. And then these are adults who are doing this. You know, when you were a kid, if you were a leaker out there, when you were a kid, did you have your parents ruin Christmas for you? Oh yeah, I got you a skateboard in November, for Christmas, and so it's horrible.
Mike,
when
are you trying to tell me that Santa's not real right now?
Really? Is it? I was saying,
you
Spoiler
just broke my heart.
Breaking news.
Oh no.
You have those kind of parents that ruin Christmas for you. You know what I mean?
Well, I just had Mike ruin Christmas for me.
Because the only way you can ruin Christmas for somebody is that you months ahead you blur things out, right?
Remove the magic.
Let them be surprised on Christmas morning. Let them have the magic, feel the magic when the game comes out, and yeah, that's what I believe. I believe.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the crowd noise.
Appreciate it.
How much do you believe, Mike?
Oh man! All right, and we just ensured Lindz never comes back.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that. Did you guys have anything else you want to add to that topic?
I'm good.
We good?
I'm getting the game. That's it. I'm getting the game. I'm hyped for the game. Excited. My daughter's excited too. We're gonna play together. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And awesome.
I think it's great. I'm really excited for what's to come. I think, if you don't want to see it, there's definitely ways to make sure that you don't see it. And I think you're in control of your own bubble. So if you don't want to see it, control your bubble. And
I definitely can't see it, so I'm good.
Don't.
Oh boy.
He legitimately has to go way out of his way.
I'm good. I got it covered.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh man.
Whew.
So all right, so before we sign out here, you guys should obviously go subscribe to Mike Odyssey and Lindz. We've got links to their YouTube channels. Really at the top of the description. It's right there. Super easy to get to. I didn't even put any preamble text like usual, and then you got to hit the whole, open up and read more. No. They're right there at the top. Go take care of our guests. Go increase their subscriber counts. But before we go here, I always like to give a guest an opportunity to maybe tease a little bit of, upcoming streams, you got upcoming content, anything that people can look forward to maybe if they enjoyed your stuff here and they're like, hey, I want to go check out their content. I want what new stuff they got coming. So, Lindz, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, so for those of you who know anything about Pokemon, I'm going to throw out a lot of words here. We've been doing a Pokemon Hardcore Shiny Lock of Pokemon X and Y. So basically what that means, every single Pokemon we get in the entire game is shiny. But they're custom shinies that are made to basically, either enhance a shiny that a Pokemon already has or just, bring out a totally different personality of the Pokemon. But they were all made by hand by these incredibly talented people who know a lot about gaming developing. So every single Pokemon we use has a custom shiny. You only get one encounter per route. There's no healing in battle. I can only level up to a certain amount, so you can't just over level for the gym leaders and steam run through. So it's a really cool series. And it's definitely very challenging and, very different than, I think a lot of content that's happening right here on YouTube right now. But I stream it almost daily. We typically stream around 6-7 p.m. EST. So that's typically what I do. But otherwise, we have a lot of Scarlet Violet stuff coming on, a lot of challenge videos. So yeah.
Awesome. Mike, you got anything coming over there?
Got some stuff. So you guys know, Monday to Friday, Odyssey News, weekends unboxings, Nin Topic podcast. We have right now this month we have Brian Hall, which is an actor. He does a voice of Dracula for Hotel Transylvania 4. He also does a whole bunch of voice over. He's an impressionist. Go check him on YouTube. He has millions of subscribers. But he's really good. He works for Disney now. Does all the voices. He's coming this month. Next month we're having the voice of Noah from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. He's gonna be on the podcast directly from England, and then we're putting together the cast of Pokemon, the cartoon series for hopefully for December. We're gonna have him on the podcast as a panel.
Lynn's wait a second. What did you just say? Hold up.
So hopefully in December as a panel, and then last, I can actually say this now because I've been working on this for a year. This is the first time you're gonna hear about Nate, but Nintendo Con is a real thing now, and I am now the manager and CEO of Nintendo Con convention that will be held here in Orlando, Florida, where we're gonna have all these voice actors I've been speaking to. We're gonna have panels, we're gonna have games, we're gonna have cosplay, we're gonna have a whole bunch of things. I'm gonna fly you over, Nate, and everybody who wants to come over. Nintendo Con is a real thing now. I got all the paperwork done, sealed, signed, and delivered. We're gonna have an actual Nintendo convention, a real one.
Incredible.
Holy crap.
It's an honor to know you.
Yeah, right?
Right. I already said he'd blow up way bigger than me. He's already gaining subscribers on me like crazy. He's gonna be. What is happening, Mike?
Congratulations.
How
Grace
do
of
you
God.
even get permission? Like, Nintendo's a copyrighted name. How do you even get that permission?
I got it. So basically, I'm the head of Nintendo Con here, and I can bring all the voice actors. I can bring all the voice actors. First thing, of course, sign NDAs and stuff like that. But I can organize conventions here in Orlando, Florida, for the brand.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah, we don't have a Nintendo Con. We don't have a convention dedicated just for Nintendo. We just got gaming conventions where everybody comes together. But guess what? Nintendo Con, where we have literally an area built just for Pokemon players, Pokemon cards, Pokemon everything. An area just built for Splatoon, everything, Mario everything, Zelda everything. Can you imagine? So we're just putting it together now. I mean, we got all the permissions. We got everything. We're ready to go. So Nintendo Con is finally a thing. It was a dream about 2 years ago, but it's finally a thing now.
So I'm assuming is this like a 2023 for the first one?
We're gonna try. Yeah, summer 2023. We're gonna try it for summer 2023.
Just please don't do it when E3 is.
Right.
No,
Please.
No, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be for E3. It's probably gonna be after E3, like right after, because I want to go to E3. But
well, yeah. Plus, Nintendo might actually have like Breath of the Wild or some other crazy stuff going on.
yeah, and the cool thing is that we can also have reveals. We can also have reveals during Nintendo Con too, as well, like game reveals for Nintendo.
What is happening right now? Mike,
yeah.
Who are you?
Resource, dude. You gotta. I mean, first thing, grace of God. By the grace of God, I'll tell everybody. By the grace of God, I'm where I'm at. But I just talk to people. You know, I just knock and doors open. So, I mean, there's nothing special about me. I don't do anything different than anybody else. I just make phone calls and I say, hey, can you come to my podcast? Okay, sure. What and then things happen, and then it's like a snowball effect. Kind of leads to one thing to another. But man, I'm just excited because. Like I told you, Nate, wherever, whatever doors open over here, everybody who I know is gonna walk through it too. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. The planning is gonna be crazy, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I know what the planning is for me just for Prime Gaming Fest, and that's just without other people being here but Eric. So
yeah,
I'm doing a whole convention with a legitimate people that work at those companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm speechless.
Yeah, right. For the
So
first time in your life. For the first time in your life, Nate, I think you're speechless.
Lindz is sitting there. I'm watching like her reaction.
Yeah,
like,
right?
mirroring in my head. I'm like,
Yep.
I can't sit still. I want to know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be there. I'll say that. I'll be there.
Heck yeah.
I'll find a way. I'll be
you
there.
can easily count me in right now.
Yeah.
So I want to plan my cruise. No, I'm not doing a cruise next year. Wait, am I? No, not next year. It's the year after. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to. I was going to be like, oh yeah, well, the con is then, and I'm like, oh dang it, I'm on a ship. I'm on a boat, and I'm skipping it for Nintendo Con. Anyways, no.
I'm hoping to get it done. I'm hoping to have our first convention before Super Nintendo World opens up because that's only going to create hype for it. The Super Nintendo World opens up in Hollywood at the beginning of the year of 2023. Towards the end of the year 2023, that's where Super Nintendo World is gonna start promoting here in Orlando, and I'm hoping to get the convention by that time, because if I can get a sponsorship from Universal to attend, and do something related to Super Nintendo World just to promote and to push the event. If I can do that, if I do the convention on Universal property, that's even better. Because I'm already looking at the hotels.
What is happening? Okay, so we just got Nintendo involved, letting you have all the copyrights and doing all these booths. Oh, and then you're going to have, all the official voice actors coming, game announcements. Now we're like, oh, by the way, we might just do this right on Universal's property. No big deal.
Yeah, they have convention hotels with big
Well,
centers.
I know they do.
Yeah.
I know they have them.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah,
it.
this is just not.
Just nonchalantly, yeah,
just
just gonna
nonchalant.
happen.
You know,
Yeah, right.
The launch of Super Nintendo World is just going to be happening. My convention's happening right in the dead center of it. No problem. No big deal.
That's going to happen in the convention center that's overlooking the
You know what's going to happen? It's going to be like 4 months from now, and he's going to be like, you won't believe it. But I have to tell you, Shigeru Miyamoto is coming.
right.
Okay, I'm...
Listen, I approached Doug Bowser. I sent him a message. Okay, I heard back from. I can say this now. I heard back from his secretary. Okay, and
I remember that. Yeah,
that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna say anything. That's where I'm gonna. Nate knows a little more, but that's where I'm gonna leave it.
I don't know that much more.
Well, did I tell you more? Well, I'll tell you more after behind the scenes.
I don't actually know that much
right.
more. I know Nintopic podcast. That's all I know. This whole convention thing is, I have no idea what's happening. This is, I think I'm gonna need a drink.
Yeah, the Nintopic
tall,
podcast
stiff one.
is just like I've been trying to build the Nintopic podcast and make connections and just make friendships with these people, with voice actors of different games, and I'm like you said, it snowballs. Like I started with Charles Martinet, and then the entire cast of Mario, and then now we have Pokemon coming up later on. Then we got Genshin Impact, and then so it's like it keeps snowballing into it, and then everybody wants to come. I got approached by another. I can't say it's not confirmed.
Basically, he's accomplished more than I have in my 24 years of doing this.
24 years. How old are you?
I'm 36. I've been doing it since I was 12.
Wow, dude, that's an accomplishment, man.
Well,
Yeah,
sure, it's
not as accomplished as you.
It's an accomplishment, and you've just crushed every accomplishment I've ever done in my entire career.
We got to celebrate 25 years. 2025.
Here's your participation trophy, Nate.
Yeah.
Participation trophy.
An empty Coke can? Oh, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, right.
Well, listen. All I'm trying to do is show people out there that there's really nothing impossible for you to do. Because if I can do this from here, literally, there's nothing impossible. Really. If I with my disability and all my flaws and stuff, I can get to do things like this. Then anybody out there who has dreams and wants goals and wants to start, you can do it. Go for it.
I don't even know what to say. So what I get for growing up in Wisconsin. I might get some sports connections.
You're right.
I might get connections to video game companies. Nobody cares about me out in Wisconsin.
You gotta know somebody. You know me. That's it.
I know you. You're right.
Yeah,
I know you, and through you, I know you.
Yeah.
Seeing what happens is you hire Mike, and then subtly you're just funding Nintendo Con. I'm just saying.
There you go.
I'm an official sponsor now for my VIP pass, and
there you go. See?
You never know. But I like I said, I'm not on this journey alone. I've never been on this journey alone. This YouTube journey, I reach out to make friends, and now we have Lindz as a friend as well. So I take everybody that I know here, and whatever God blesses me with, I bless forward. Everything I have is for people, for the fans. You know what I mean? Nothing is for me. Everything is just for the fans. So whatever I can do to help anybody, I'm gonna do it. I'm not even gonna think about it twice. Did you know that Mr. Beast himself, he's almost broke? You know why? Because he spends all of his monies on the videos. He literally spent millions of dollars to make one video for his fans. For all those millions of views. It's not that he's a millionaire. He invests everything he has. He puts everything he has into one video, and then look where he is now. 100 million subscribers. You know? So that's what you gotta do. Put everything you have. Don't leave anything behind, because you never know. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, and you have to do whatever you can do today, and try to do more for other people than you do for yourself. And I think that's the one key that maybe will allow doors to open. When you focus more on other people and for the benefit of others more than yourself, then I think that's when things start happening. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Well, I have a news video coming tomorrow.
All right.
Another episode of Prime 5. And maybe a Splatoon live stream this weekend. So that's what I have coming up, guys. I don't even know how to follow that up. I think that's a good place to end the podcast.
I got a podcast next week.
Yeah, Eric,
I got the podcast
Eric
next week.
doesn't even make content. He'll just be back on the podcast next week. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 60.
That was a hell of a way to end this podcast.
That was like a bombshell and a half. I mean, clearly, when this happens sometime next year, we'll have to have a podcast all about NintenCon. That's going to be...
What? Nintendo Con.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. The official branding. My bad.
Nintendo Con. I shorten it because I'm just not used to like the official branding being allowed. That's all right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Nathaniel RoboJets from Nintendo Prime. Every week, Mike finds a way to make me speechless over something, and this week this is just the biggest bombshell I think I've heard of in my life.
Right.
Okay. Go subscribe.
Yeah. Right.
Subscribe to Mike and Lindz. They're awesome. Bye.
Jeez.
Okay.